Right, tonal value. All that means is how light or how dark the paint is going to be. Because the next thing you have to control after how to control the brush, you then have to control how much color, how much pigment you use in your actual paint. So let's see what we can do. If you twist your brush in the paint and you get a lot of paint on it and mix it in, and I put a mark down, that's quite dark. Agreed? Now, how do you get light in watercolor? Well, if I just rinse the brush, take a bit of clean water and mix it in there, right? So I've added water to the color and it's lighter. Let's see if we can go that far. Do me a very dark and a very light stroke. You don't have to do a chicken or a hen or a person or anything, just a light or a dark stroke. And please don't use the point, use the side of the brush to make your stroke. Let's get into doing it right from the very beginning. So, now, I'm going to try it again. If I add more water still, can I make it even lighter? Practically, yes. So I've got something really light. Now add more water still to the one that gives you the light one, you get something even lighter. Okay. So now you have three tones. You've got a dark, a mid-tone, and a light one. Is there anybody who hasn't got a dark, middle, and a light? Oh gosh. Ah, okay. I'll channel Andrew Previn anytime. No, it was Morecambe, wasn't it? Morecambe and Wise. Right, okay. Now let's go back to the beginning again. Let's come the other way. Let's start by making a light stroke. There. Now I want the next one to be a bit darker. So what I can do is add, by twisting my brush, add a little bit of paint to my mix. And that should give me a slightly darker stroke. Right? You'll notice that apart from this little corner here, my strokes are the same color, or the same tone. I get the word right in a minute. Same tone all the way across. Right, now if I'm going to make it a little bit darker, I take some more paint from my paint pan, add a little bit more, mix it in thoroughly, and put another stroke. That doesn't look very much darker to me, so I'm going to try again, putting a bit more paint in. There we are, that's better. So I've got light, a little bit darker, a little bit darker. Now I'm going to take all the water out of the brush. And I do that not by getting a thing and riving at it, but by just painting the water out on a cloth. Right? Then I pick up more paint from my pan by twisting the brush in the pan, work it in the palette. That should give me, if I've done it right, really dark. Is that very much darker? It is, in my case, you can't really see there, but it is actually very much darker. That's about as dark as you can get, I think. Right. Now, what I've got there is a certain lack of control. Right? I've got dark, pretty much the same dark, lighter, lighter. I didn't have sufficient control to get the third one along, just that little bit lighter than a real dark. Okay, so that's a lack of control on my part. So you see, it's not easy. Okay, so we try again. We'll go the other way this time. We'll take the paint from the pan, get as much paint on your brush as you can, work the paint in one of your paint pans and put a dark mark. That's not dark enough. Come on, Steve, you'll never get anywhere with that. If it doesn't come dark enough, do it again until you get it as dark as you want it. Right? Now, if you add a little bit of water, and remember that brush will hold a lot of water, so be careful. You want to add a little bit of water to your paint that you had before. And you want it becoming a little bit darker, a little bit lighter than the one you've just done, but not so light that you're not no room for the four at the other end. There we are. That is, I think, all right. Right, so what are we going to do to make it even lighter? Add water. Take more water with it. Now, what you want to note is how much water you need to do to make it lighter. Okay. Now, if you rinse your brush, because that's got the slightly darker paint on, paint out the water. Take a little bit more clean water, put it in to your pan, and see if you can get it even lighter. Oh, that's worked. And you can carry on like this if you add another little bit of water to it. You should be able to get it even lighter. Has everybody been successful? Right, okay, so we're going to do a landscape. So we're going to start with the sky. So I want you to make, with the blue, still working with the blue, pick up your thing and make a very pale blue color. So you're making a pale color, remember. Now, usually when I'm actually painting a picture, I have rough paper around and I try the color out to see if that's the color that I want. So you can paint on some of the sheets that you've tried doing people and figures on, just to see that that's the pale color that you want. Now, I'm not going to do a wash. We're not into doing that kind of thing yet. We'll talk about that next week. What we're going to do is just put in some marks that look a bit like clouds. Okay. So the blue is actually going to be the cloud, not going to be the sky. Okay, so I'm going to just make some marks, and as they get near the horizon, I'm making them smaller. And even, right, just like that. That's all. Make your own cloud. Doesn't have to be my cloud. In fact, that could be the blue sky and the white could be the cloud, which would be sensible, wouldn't it? Instead of trying to be clever about it. Right. Now, I want it to be slightly darker. Not a lot darker because we're going to do distant mountains. Okay, slightly darker. So I'll put a little bit more paint in there. Try out my color. It's what I want. So I'm going to put in some distant mountains. Not showing as darker. If you try it and it doesn't work, you know, don't be afraid to alter it. So we've got a mountain coming like that. And this one goes up here. Table Mountain, that is. So I've got some mountains now. The mountains are slightly darker than the clouds. This is how tonal value works. Now, the bottom of those mountains is a bit of a hedge, a tree or two. And you'll notice that it bleeds into the, so I've gone slightly darker. I'm just fitting it in at the bottom of the mountains. See, I didn't wait long enough. This is my tragedy. I never wait long enough. You don't wait long enough, it disappears. So I'll have to do it again. I shouldn't worry. I should let paint dry. You've probably done better than me at this bit. Oh, no. Okay. Right. Now then, I'm going to use a lighter color again. So I'm putting a bit more water in the mix. And I'm going to put in some just some fields. Okay. Now this time, I'm going to be patient. Just put in some shapes of a paler color, a bit paler than the mountains, but not. And you'll see I've made the lines diagonal, the white spaces diagonal. Okay. right? You'll have another go. Don't worry if this one doesn't work. Still too wet. Right, I'm putting in the hedges, actually. That's what I'm doing. So I'm putting slightly darker paint to suggest the hedge. And as usual, I haven't waited long enough. If you use much thicker paint, don't put wet paint into wet paint. It's got to be drier. I'm not trying to make a tree. I'm just letting the paint go up into the wet area. Right, now take as much of the moisture out of the brush as you can. Take as much pigment into the brush as you can. So you're getting to be really, 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 really dark. You should really wait in between, but I'm hurrying. Right, now supposing I put a tree here. Just got to be I just dotted the brush around lightly, so some of the time the paint comes off, and sometimes it doesn't. Finally, right at the bitter end, I make a very, 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 very pale wash and put that in the front. There we are. There's a dark splodge there. I think that's a rabbit. Okay. Now, can you see how tonal value works? By using the tone of the paint, it helps you to read the picture better. I think I could do a bit more of a knot there. I have tried to characterize the tree very much in any way. It's just a. Incidentally, if any of you prefer to paint standing up like I am, it loosens your arm and you find it easier to manipulate the paint. You see where I'm holding the paintbrush? Not right down there, twiddling. Way back. Just beyond there's a nice fat bit in the handle there, which is nice to hang on to. That's where you do it. Okay, so it's a very basic landscape.